Success now does not equal success later. Let's talk about it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Edgy Entrepreneur Podcast, where we believe that if you're not focusing on your mindset, you're leaving 80% of your business potential on the table. We are your hosts. I am Daniel Tribby.
And I am Oriana Guevara.
There we go. I love the accent on the Latina name. It's beautiful. Let's go. How we doing, Oriana?
I'm doing great. We're talking about some good shit today.
Yeah, we always talk about good shit.
That's true. True story.
So, all right. So today's episode, we want to kind of carry you guys through this idea of moving from confusion to congruence. Okay. And a lot of people are like, congruence, what the hell does that mean? So let's define that. What is congruence?
Yeah. So in my mind, congruence is living, operating, everything you do, right, in your decision-making process in alignment with who you really are, with your value system, and in alignment with the goals that you're trying to achieve, right? So you're not actually doing things or making decisions that are contrary to the path that you're trying to move down. That's congruence, right?
Absolutely. I think alignment is the best word for me when it goes with congruence. Like, are you aligned with your values, with your integrity, with all the things you desire to be? Are you aligned with those on a daily basis? Are you living in congruence with those? And that's when I think a lot of people get confused, or they get to a stopping point and they go, I don't know what to do now. Or maybe they're even surprised that they got to where they got. I never imagined I would be here.
It happens all the time.
And then so they get confused because they haven't decided, well, what's the next part? What do I really need to do for me to live in that alignment so I can move my business in congruence with my values?
Right. Well, what happens mentally is that they've reached an upper limit, right? And so they get to that point in their career success or life success where they never imagined themselves reaching the point that they're now finding themselves at. And then it's like, well, now that I'm here, what the hell is next? Now what? Right? And so this almost like a self-imposed state of confusion and lacking clarity or lacking understanding, and I don't know what to do next, or I have arrived and I never thought I'd get here. You know, that kind of head trash starts to sink in, and it becomes very real for people.
Yeah. And I think too, when we start looking at the difference between high performance and high achievement, right? This is a thing that commonly happens. So for those of you who have listened to us in the past, we talk about the difference between performance and achievement, but I'll touch on it really quickly. And I really want you to pay attention to see if you are connecting with one of these, because I bet a lot of you who think you're high performers are actually not. You're probably high achievers. So high achievers are your one-hit wonders, right? I got lucky. I don't know how I got here, but I made $1 million and now I'm here, but I don't really know how to replicate or duplicate my process. I'm here and I'm happy, but I don't know what to do next. And so you end up kind of spiraling a little bit because you haven't established concrete goals or standards or directions for where you want to go next. Versus the performance-driven people, your high performance-driven people, are the ones that are consistently looking to improve upon what they've done so that they can operate at a very high level continuously without hitting walls of overwhelm.
Yeah, it's sustainable long-term performance. That is the goal, versus accomplishing this one thing is the goal, right? It's like, I want to be sustainably in high performance, meaning taking care of myself as I achieve my goals, right? Which means you got to have healthy habits, not just desirable goals, but you're moving towards a specific direction and you're doing that in a sustainable, healthy way, right? It's kind of like the way you would want to run your business, right? You want your business to have sustainability and predictability in clients and income. Well, you have to have that in yourself. And if you don't have that in yourself, that's not going to show up in your business.
Absolutely not. And who sets the standards for you?
You do.
You do. And people just kind of, they look lost. They get to this point and they go, I don't know what to do. And they stand there and like, I got this, but now I don't know what to do next. And how do we get past that? How do we get to a point where we have realized that this is where I am, but I don't know how to get to the next level. What's that? What do I do? What do I need to take into account?
Well, I think there's a few different things that people should look at, right? It's, do you have a vision for the future beyond where you are right now? Or do you need to cast a new vision, right? This is one of the things we were talking about when I mentioned upper limit. You know, you're basically, you've stepped into the vision of whatever it was that you thought that your life would be like, or whatever you wanted to accomplish. Like, you're living the vision, you know, however long that took you to get there. And then you don't have a vision beyond that, right? So if you don't have a vision beyond where you are right now, you have to cast a brand new vision.
Right. It's funny that you mentioned that, because I was listening to a book recently by, I think it's Jim Schwartz, The Magic of Thinking Big. Correct me on the author. I can't remember if it's, anyway, PhD Schwartz. There you are. So he talks about setting intentional goals for yourself. And when you set intentional goals, you intentionally drive yourself to get there. But a lot of people who don't do that just float through life. They have this driftwood type of thing where wherever the river takes me is where I'm going to go.
Yeah, which is an awful way to live.
And he talks about this one particular mother who is diagnosed with cancer when her child is 2, and the child's father had passed recently. Wow. And so she set an intentional goal that no matter what it took, she was going to see her child graduate from college. She fought cancer, never beat it, but fought it for the next however many 18 to 20 years. He graduated high school, then she passed. Or sorry, not high school, college. And then she passed. So when you set intentional goals, like I got chills just thinking about that, but when you set intentional goals, this gives yourself purpose. It gives your life drive and meaning. We always talk about constructing your life design. What do you want it to look like?
Exactly, being the architect of your life.
That's it. And so when you set intentional goals and intentional vision, then now you can sit down and start thinking, how am I going to get there? And you can map that out. But if you don't have a vision, you're going to stand there and just be confused. I don't know how I got here, but I got here. Now what?
Yeah, which is a limiting belief that a lot of people are carrying around. I think the other thing about setting the intention is that, you know, if you intend to move in a certain direction, you intend to fulfill a desire towards something that you really want to experience in life, then you really have to check your belief system. Right? Because everything comes from our belief system at the end of the day. So if it's like, if I intend that, great. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, wait a minute. Well, how would I get there? Because what I believe is X, Y, Z, right? And then you can start to kind of realize what beliefs you're holding that are not moving you in the direction of what you intend. And because if that intention is powerful enough, then you can actually correct those beliefs. You know, in the very least, you can become aware of them, which is the first thing that you must do before you can correct or change a belief system. But once you know what it is, you know, then you have to do that. Like, let's say, for example, if this woman intended to see her son graduate from college, but then didn't actually believe that she had the capacity or the ability in herself to be able to overcome, you know, 18 to 20 years worth of significant health struggle and challenges, you know, then she would not have been able to fulfill on the intention.
Right. It's the same reason that some people retire and then they die, right? Because they have the intention to work to a certain age to get to retirement, but then they have no intention or no goals or nothing to believe in afterwards and no vision.
Yeah. And I think more importantly, like, no purpose. Right. And I don't mean that to say like that a person, any particular human being has no purpose, right? Or like lack of purpose. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about the fundamental disconnect between an individual and what their purpose is, right? So everybody has a purpose. Not everybody's connected to their purpose and understands what exactly it is. And if once you do that, which as we know requires a whole other level of self-work, introspection, right? Learning and reconnecting to your true self-identity, getting rid of your conditioning and indoctrination that has told you otherwise. But once you can connect to that, it's like you cannot connect to your true self and also still not know what your purpose is, right? Like that, like true self and purpose is the same.
Right. And this is another level of congruence, right? So it's if you're not in alignment with all aspects of your life and living in all aspects true to that, then you're not being congruent, right? It's the same thing that I actually posted this just the other day on on my social media channels about how we're so quick to upgrade everything else in our lives, our kitchens, our wardrobes, our cars, all these things, but we're so slow to get rid of beliefs that we've been holding on to for 30 years. Like, what the fuck? Like, why are you holding on to the bullshits that somebody taught you when you were 18?
Yeah, or maybe not even taught you, just like something that you witnessed in adults around you, or, you know, I say this with compassion and love, but something that you witnessed from other people who were operating at a lower level of consciousness from where you want to be now. Right? Like where you want to go is going to require you to evolve your consciousness. Right? And so if you're still carrying around belief systems that you learned from people who were never at that level of consciousness, then you are not going to be able to get there.
Right. And stop defending these old, outdated ways of thinking. Stop defending limitations and making excuses about why you're stuck in this confused state and you're not congruent. Instead, why don't you be in awe of all the shit that you don't know? Like, find some awe there. Find some reason why you want to learn more and adapt and grow.
And some gratitude, right? Like, you've come this far. There must be something in you. You must have done something right at some point in time, right? You must have some good capacity in you, and work ethic and et cetera, whatever the hell it is that, you know, you put gas in the tank with, to get to where you're at, right? Like, show some appreciation and gratitude for that. And also, it's okay to want more. Like, let yourself want more. You know, that's the other thing that I see in a lot of high achievers who are trying to move to this place of high performance, right? Is like this feeling of people not understanding why they need to want more, right? Like, why they have that mindset. Like, why can't you just be content with what you have? Like, you've already worked so hard to get to this place, you know, just be okay with it. And, you know, it's like this, the story is this feeling of, like, I'm ungrateful, or, you know, I feel bad because people look at me like I'm ungrateful for what I have, and that's not it. I just want more, you know. And I tell them, like, you are allowed to want what you want.
Right.
It's okay.
Stop settling, because if you're settling, guess what? You're not living in congruence with your next best self, next best self, if I can talk.
Right.
You're not at all. You're out of congruence with that.
If you feel guilty about wanting more, you are going to be playing small. You're gonna create a shrunken, for lack of a better word, a shrunken vision, right, for what you're able to accomplish, right? So you're when you go to cast that new vision for the future, it's gonna be a small vision. It's not gonna be a vision that's worthy of what you're capable of, you know. And then when you go to step into that vision, you're going to play small, because it's not gonna be a vision that inspires you if you created a vision that was smaller than what you're capable of and disconnected, meaning out of congruence with who you really are and what you really want, right? So I think we've, you know, established like the importance of being in alignment, being in congruence, you know. And we have other episodes, for those of you out there, we have other episodes that you can listen to where we talk about value systems and vision and your why and why it's so important to have that, you know, so that you can operate in congruence, right? Sure. We talk about this concept of your business being a reflection of you and operating like a mirror, you know, in your life. If you so choose to look at it that way, you know, if you have that level of consciousness, which all of us should, right? The experiences that you're having with your clients in your business are reflecting back at you what's in you. So if you are not in integrity with yourself, which that's really at the core of it, that's what this is, right? Operating in full congruence is operating in integrity. So if you're having experiences that you don't prefer in your business and or with your clients and or with your financial picture, something inside of yourself, like that's the reflection of something inside of you.
Exactly. Yeah. You're going to attract what you put out there, right? A lot of people don't realize you could say to yourself, well, I value these things. You could say that. But then when you really look at your actions, are your actions aligning, or are they in congruence with what you're saying you value? Because you can say one thing, But if your actions show something very different, then people are going to be able to sniff out your inauthenticity and your disingenuine, right? So they're going to be able to sniff that out, and you're going to attract the actionable things that you're doing versus the verbal things that you're doing.
Oh, completely. Yeah. Like behavior leaves clues.
Exactly.
That's what I say.
Exactly.
But only 100% of the time.
Mm-hmm. That's it. That's it. So what are some other follies and roadblocks that people get into when they in this mindset of confused versus I don't know what to do? How do I get congruent? What are some of the things that we see a lot of people thinking?
Yeah, some of the beliefs are things like I should be further along than I am right now, right?
Sound familiar, anybody?
Yeah, a lot of self-comparison to other people, right? Like they're that far along and they're younger than me. Why am I not there? When we hit that upper limit, it's kind of like some questioning, like, am I capable of doing anything more? Or maybe there's a belief like I'm not capable of doing more than I've already accomplished. Mm-hmm. That could be another one.
How about the one where people don't, they can't see that their effort is going to be worth the gain on the other side?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't know if it's worth it.
Right. I don't know if I put all this work in, if it's going to be worth it to me, or I can't visualize the end point or the gain or what I get from all the work that I put in.
Right. Right. I mean, that's a really, really common one in business and in relationships, right? Where people don't see the end goal. So they're just drifting through the experience of a business or of a relationship. And so at some point in time when that business or that relationship isn't, the experience isn't what they expected or what they wanted, right? It's there's a gap there. Like, this is what it is. This is what I want. Then the thinking sets in that's like, well, I've already put in so much time and effort into this. I can't possibly get out now, and, or I don't know how to get out now, or like, whatever is, I don't know what's out there and if it's going to be better than what I'm already experiencing now, even though I don't like what I'm experiencing now, right? Like, these are some of like the mental cycles that we get ourselves in, and we start to manifest experiences that we don't prefer.
And then people just stay locked in that moment because they can't actually visualize anything better. Or if they think they could have something better, they also self-sabotage into saying, well, I don't know if I could put the work in or the time, or is it worth my energy to get there? I know some of you are feeling that. You stayed in a situation longer than you should have, and because you couldn't see an out, and you couldn't see a benefit, or you couldn't see anything other than what you were stuck in, and you thought it wasn't going to be worth it, so you would just stay miserable. But here's the other side of that. The door is never locked. You can always pivot. You can always shift. We talk about pivoting all the time. And what you gain from the actions that you took is experience and new vantage points. It's not a jail cell. Right. It's another vantage point for you to see how you can change your belief system or your vision for the future, and then start taking the steps to become congruent with that.
Yeah, it's I think when you say jail cell, like it sounds harsh, but what I want people to understand is essentially when we get into these belief system loops where we're essentially just utilizing our behavior to justify a negative belief system, rather than understanding that you're engaging in the behavior because you have that belief system, or you're having that manifestation of the experience in your life because of what you believe, not the other way around. So we'll see the experience and go, oh, see, I knew it, right? And then think that justifies what we already believe, And when we get into those loops, it really is like a mental prison. It's like you're sitting in that cell and the door's open. You can get out at any point in time, but like you have your back to the door because you're putting your attention on the mental loop, on what you already believe, rather than realizing that you can change that belief system at any point in time. Once you realize what I call the human operating system, once we know how the human operating system works, then you can see, oh, that's just a belief, right? Sometimes I call it a creation. So you created that belief, and you can change that belief into something else. Like, you can decide to believe something else that feels better.
Ooh, and then people are going to say, but if I don't believe this anymore, then who am I? Ugh. So, and there's where the work comes in, right? So, and if you guys are looking for some more mental mind shifts that you really want to dive into, definitely go to our website at edgyentrepreneurs with an S on the end.com, and there's a free download for your top 5 mind shifts that you need to make that are going to take you to six figures and beyond, keep you in that high performance. So definitely go check that out at edgyentrepreneurs.com. But let's talk about some of those mind shifts. Like, what are those mental states that you can move yourself to, or those action items, strategies that you can take to get yourself out of this confusion and into this congruence?
Yeah, so I think that the first thing that you have to do is address those limiting beliefs. The limiting beliefs that you hold might be a little bit different than the ones that we specifically mentioned here. Those are just the ones that we find that are very common in individuals and with clients that we worked with. But you might be hanging on to those or any number of different limiting belief systems. And so you have to address the belief system. And then I think even further beyond that, once you've addressed the belief system, in the very least, just to get self-awareness around what your belief system actually looks like, right? Because we're talking about people who have achieved a certain level of success and then start to get entrenched in a belief system that they don't know what to do what's next, right? That they can't figure it out and that they're stuck. I want people to understand those are beliefs. Those are stories that you're telling yourself, right? So if I tell myself a story that I am stuck, guess what the experience is that I'm going to have?
More stuckness.
Yes, exactly.
Go figure.
Right, go figure. So, from our perspective as coaches, it's actually very simple to see where people have these mental roadblocks because you just listen to how they talk. Right. So I think something that it would be helpful for listeners is actually become an observer of your mental narrative, of your inner dialogue. What are you telling yourself? Are you telling yourself that you're stuck? Are you telling yourself that you don't know what to do, what's next, and that you can't figure it out and that you don't know where to go from here? Like, honestly, is that true? Is that true?
Yeah, I think too, you have a personal duty as an individual in a business who desires high performance to evolve constantly. You have to be in this perpetual state of being a student first. Like, you and I don't get to teach people how to do this stuff if we ourselves aren't doing them, right? So what high school teacher that teaches science has never learned science or how to teach it? It doesn't happen that way. So it's the same thing. You have to constantly evolve, and you have to constantly be willing to make yourself uncomfortable so you can learn the new things that you need to learn to set yourself up to have bigger visions and to set higher standards for yourself and to find out, how do I crush the self-doubt so that I can continue to move forward? So those are great points from a personal strategy barrier, right? But what about business barriers? Okay, I'm working on myself. I got to get my personal growth on because my personal growth will directly influence my business growth. So I did that part. How do I get now to the business strategy part? What do I need to do there?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I want to back up for just 1 second because I think that this point, is really worth making, right? Like, you touched on it, and it's the reality that your inner world just determines your outer world, right? Another way to say that is that your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. And that means that your business is a reflection of your inner world. Your relationships are a reflection of your inner world. Your health and fitness, your finances, everything, right? Because who dictates and creates your life? You do, right? So if you are finding yourself, again, having experiences that you don't want to be having, that don't meet this certain, whatever expectation you created for yourself, or that you're not fully enjoying in your life, it's because there's something inside of yourself in your belief system. It can be changed. That's the good news, right? So I think from both the personal and the business perspective, the first thing you have to do is take personal responsibility. For the fact that is your creation, right? You created a business where clients don't pay on time, right? Do you pay on time? Do you pay your invoices and bills on time? Do you pay your invoices and bills with gratitude, right? You created a business where, people don't follow through, or you're having experiences in your personal relationships that people don't follow through, right? Do you follow through, right? So it's like, we always want to create this world where, we are fully performing and giving it all and doing our best. And then all of the issues that we experience, it's those people out there that are doing it to me. And if you have anywhere in your mind, in your thinking, that anybody is doing anything to you, you have made a decision to step into a self-victimization mindset, which is the exact opposite. It is a bad place to be, because you'll just continue to manifest not only what you're already experiencing, but it will continue to progress and get worse, meaning more and more uncomfortable when I say worse. But that is the complete opposite of personal responsibility, right? So the number one thing is take full personal responsibility and ownership for everything that you've created, good, bad, ugly. I don't care how you describe it. Those are your judgments. Those are your creations, though, right? Once you own them, then you can start to say, okay, how do I want to change these experiences in my life? And what is it in me that either attracted this or created this in my business, right? How can I evolve?
Oh, it's great. It's absolutely, and it's 1,000% necessary. If you desire to go to the next level anywhere, to evolve, as I mentioned earlier, this is necessary internal self-work that you're going to have to do. And then you also can't be a prideful jackass when it comes to your business, and understanding that what got you to this point will not get you to the next one. You're going to have to learn from somebody else. For those of you listening thinking you're the first person that's ever done this in the world for this business, you're fucking wrong. Okay? Somebody else has done it. There are other people who have been where you want to go. You need to change who you are around, right? Change the tribe. We have an episode on tribe. I think it actually came out as we record this one, it came out. But on building that tribe, finding that tribe, who are those people that are going to gas you up in a positive way and help you strategize or think about things you hadn't thought of before. So if running a business is nothing more than a system of systems. A system of strategies. So you have to find a new strategy that you can implement, and you also have to believe that the strategy that you have came from a reputable source and that it will work. So, and the best way to know that it's reputable is that if somebody's done it and there's social proof that it works. And you have to take some sort of action into implementing it, but then also have a little faith that it's going to deliver for you. I see so many people who buy courses or buy strategies or plans or work with coaches, and they never implement, they never do it, because for various reasons that we've already mentioned in this episode that I won't go into again. But if you want to really change your business, you're going to have to change your strategy inside your business. And in order to do that, you need to learn from people who have been where you want to go. Find out how they did it. And then ask questions, buy the program, talk to the coach, hire them, find out how to get there and implement.
Right. Yes. I can't tell you how many people I see that, have a plan or, paid to learn a new plan or a new strategy and then don't actually utilize it, right? Don't implement it or don't trust the plan that they created themselves, right? Like that's rooted in self-doubt. And again, that's part of why we keep saying, it's like, I know we're like hammering it in, but it is so true, right? Like your business is a reflection of you. Yeah. And so if you're carrying around self-doubt, guess what's going to happen when you need to make important decisions in your business? You're going to doubt yourself every step of the way, right. And it's not going to feel good. Yeah. It's not going to be an experience that you're going to enjoy. And then once your business becomes a pain point for you, you're going to want out. That's the other thing.
Yeah. And I think a lot of it goes into self-sabotage too. Like some people will buy the plan to say they bought the plan, but not implement the plan because they're really afraid of what the plan might deliver for them.
Sure. The plan's going to require you to take on new responsibility, more responsibility. Or it's going to require you to have to learn something new. It's going to require you to have to fucking change.
Oh, but if you're living in congruence, is that really a problem for you?
It should not be. Exactly. If you're living in congruence, right?
Exactly. Yeah, so this has been our episode on moving from confusion to congruence. I hope you guys got some great nuggets of information here on how to get out of your own way and start moving into alignment with your vision, your goals for your future self, but also the next best step for your business and that transition into becoming a high performer. As I mentioned earlier, please go to www.edgyentrepreneurs.com. We have a free download there for the top 5 mind shifts that you can make in order to take yourself to 6 figures and keep yourself there and beyond. So we would love for you guys to go pick that freebie up from the website. And I
just want to say thank you and also invite people to join the Edgy Entrepreneurs Facebook group. If you are on Facebook, you can really get some value. We're live in that group on a weekly basis, and we're having very similar conversations that you can actually join in on. You can ask us questions and dialogue not only with us, but also with members of the group who are knowledge-based experts and entrepreneurs, all trying to grow, right? Trying to grow and build a supportive community.
Love it. Love it. And if you'll like, review, or send us emails directly and let us know if you have questions about this episode or any other ideas you would like to hear us talk about, we would love to hear those from you guys also. So we are the Edgy Entrepreneurs, and we'll see you guys on the next episode.